Coming up on today's episode of Airborne-Unmanned. UAS community fights airspace control grab. Paris Airshow features drone anti-collision tech. And the Drone Racing League secures major investment. Hi, I'm Bree Cross. Welcome to the Aero-News Network's Airborne-Unmanned program, a weekly news program covering all things unmanned in partnership with AUVSI. The team at AUVSI is staying plenty busy, with 13 other organizations authored a letter to members of Congress urging them to consider the potential consequences for the UAS industry if legislation was enacted affecting the federal sovereignty of the airspace. In the letter, the organizations say, quote, "Legislation is premature and lawmakers should wait until efforts such as the FAA's Drone Advisory Committee have created consensus recommendations with input from stakeholders before considering changes to long-standing federal governments of the national airspace system. Legislating changes before consensus is reached may have dramatic unintended consequences that could stifle innovation, restrict economic growth and interstate commerce, and potentially compromise safety." Legislation was recently introduced in the Senate that could empower state and local authorities to regulate hobbyist and commercial UAS. Airspace jurisdiction is likely to be an issue when Congress starts considering FAA reauthorization, expected later this month. An AUVSI economic report forecasts that UAS technology will create more than 100,000 jobs and generate more than $82 billion for the U.S. economy in the first decade following full integration of UAS into the NAS. In the next Unmanned Minute, let's take a brief look at a few of the shorter stories that are making the rounds in the unmanned vehicle communities. The project team under the China Aerospace Science and Technology Corporation has announced that the country's first near-space solar drone, called Chaihong, or Rainbow, has successfully completed a flight at an altitude of 20 kilometers, or nearly 12.5 miles. The UAS, which has a wingspan of 45 meters, flew smoothly in near space for over 15 hours under control, finishing its scheduled path and then landed safely. The Mitra Corporation has issued a call to drone pilots to assist with research that will help inform the FAA on policy decisions related to the integration of drones into the NAS. The Mitra Corporation Center for Advanced Aviation System Development conducts research for the FAA and helps them to improve the safety and efficiency of the NAS. A suspected North Korean drone was discovered crashed in a wooded area in South Korea near the border last week, holding several images of U.S. missile sites. The find was confirmed by a South Korean Defense Ministry official who requested anonymity because of department rules. The FAA UAS Symposium brought industry stakeholders and a large number of FAA staffers to the same place to discuss the future of UAS. AUVSI President and CEO Brian Wynne told ANN's Jim Campbell that for him, the adoption of Part 107 was, quote, "the sound of the gun going off, but as long as we work together as a community and take it step by step, I think we're going to get there." Check out the full interview in AUVSI's YouTube channel at airborne-unmanned.net. That was our Unmanned Minute. Now back to the rest of the news. One of the technologies on display at the Paris Airshow this week seeks to deal with anti-collision programs to separate UAVs from unmanned vehicles. To integrate UAVs into the national airspace, the National Research Council of Canada has developed the Passive Intelligence Collision Avoidance Sensor System, allowing UAS to detect oncoming aircraft more accurately than ever before. PICAS allows UAS to detect aircraft that are not able to communicate their position to other aircraft. PICAS uses cameras that have a large field of view while also having a microscope-like capability that can see oncoming objects at long ranges. The software is then able to examine the images and determine if the object is another aircraft on a collision course. This ability is unique because it can detect an aircraft that is approaching head-on while it is still far enough away to allow for avoidance. It senses in real time Cessna-sized targets at a distance of nearly 5 miles. The box-like sensor is also small enough to be attached to the exterior of a UAS. Currently, no such technology is commercially available. Flight tests are currently being conducted to verify PICAS's accuracy, putting NRC on course to make the first commercially viable sense and avoid system by 2018. And the big money deals just keep rolling in. The Drone Racing League has just completed a successful Series B funding round in preparation for its second season. The league reached primarily into the ranks of the entertainment industry and came out with $20 million. Quote, "We're incredibly proud to introduce new partners and investors aligning with DRL to solidify drone racing as the sport of the future," said Nicholas Horbaczewski, CEO and founder of DRL. Over the past 18 months, we've committed to building a technology company that can capture the imagination of new sport fans around the world. The support we have from some of the most respected brands and investors is helping us rapidly realize that vision. The announcement from DRL came out just ahead of the UK's first professional drone race and the last race of the 2017 Alliance World Championship season, which headlined London Tech Week. The race took place at London's iconic Alexandra Palace, with 8 of the best pilots flying to be crowned the best in the world during the winner-take-all 2017 season finale. Well, that's our program for this week. In addition to this program, our daily Airborne-Limited episodes covering the entire aviation and aerospace world are streamed Monday through Friday. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and tweet us. Get comprehensive real-time 24/7 coverage of the latest aviation and aerospace stories anytime at aero-news.net, and more information on the innovative world of all things unmanned at AUVSI.org and Airborne-Unmanned.net. We'll see you next week.